Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
The truth shall set you free. You can't handle the truth. We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
That's not how the Force works. Oh, really? You're cold?
I'm gonna make him an offer again.
I'd buy that for $1.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Hasta la vista, baby.
I don't have friends. I got family.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
I can do this all day.
Yeah, I know.
Hello, welcome to the Creative Control Movie Podcast and our special review for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Please note this is going to be a full spoiler review, so if you haven't watched the movie yet, hit the pause button, go away, watch the movie, then come back as we discuss all the different plot points, the Easter eggs, post-credit scenes, and potentially what it means for the future of this character and the MCU, in a wider sense. Joining me on today's podcast, we have Lee, Neil, and Sacha. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
So I saw the film with Lee and Sacha at Cineworld IMAX. Neil, you saw it the same night, pretty much I think at the same time, but different location. I haven't. So I kind of know what Lee and Sacha's thoughts are, but I don't know what your thoughts are. So I suppose we'll talk a little bit about the basis of the film first. So obviously, it's a sequel to Doctor Strange. It's part of the Phase 4 of the MCU. Doctor Strange and Wanda are sort of like central points to this, and it's very much a case of American Chavez. The movie kind of starts with a bang. So you get America Chavez and a variant of Doctor Strange right at the beginning of the movie and leads straight into the action straight away. We find that America Chavez can jump between multiverses and that someone's after her power. Doctor Strange is trying to protect her. And again, spoilers, the person trying to get that is Wanda Maximoff. Scarlet Witch. Basically, she is very upset after WandaVision, where she created a life for herself and her children. She wants to be a mother. She wants to be with her children. So she's trying to find another reality where she can do that. And the way she can get to those realities and move around is taking the powers of America. So that's kind of the basis of the film. The trailer did kind of give us a clue that Wanda was in it, but we thought maybe she might be aligning herself with Doctor Strange via the trailer. And they tried to make it look like the variants, I think, of Doctor Strange were the main villains. But that is very much not the case. Wanda is the main villain of this movie. No questions. And that's the premise of the movie, basically. So let's start off with Neil. What was your overall feelings coming out of the movie?
I think it's I haven't been as excited leaving a Marvel film as this probably since Avengers 1. Since leaving the cinema after seeing the first Avengers movie and that feeling of wow, I think I just saw the pinnacle of like superhero cinema. I genuinely left and I was just like, wow, trying to just process and digest everything. I think this is this movie for me, this movie is this is Avengers Endgame of comic book nostalgia. Like Avengers Endgame was the nostalgia for the MCU. So if you've been on the train riding since, Iron Man 1, since the post credits of, I want to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative. If you've been riding that wave since Iron Man 1, then you felt that when you watched Endgame because it was touching on moments that you'd seen in, here's from Avengers. Here's from, Guardians 1, and here's from Thor, The Dark World. So it was like a highlight reel for those who stuck with it. I feel like Doctor Strange, to a degree, what this movie was that highlight reel for people who you've just been with comic books all this time. I got you.
Okay. That's nice. Yeah, no, I like that. Okay, cool. Lee, what was your overriding feeling coming out?
Yeah, I enjoyed it, and I think, what Neil said really, and I think I've just mentioned to you before we came onto the show, is that this is new territory for me because I'm not really. I've followed the comic books. I have, since I've watched Iron Man 1 and watched all the MCU from the beginning, and Endgame was the pinnacle, and now that's been and gone. It's like where they're going next. So all these new characters are coming in, and I don't know, where they've come from, their backstory, or where they're going. So this is new territory for me. So no, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good film. I definitely need to see it again because obviously there's so much going on, and I'm sure there's probably a few Easter eggs in there and all the rest of it. But no, it's good storyline. The bits at the end, like the sort of where he goes into his dead body, and that was awesome. I love that, and with all the demons, that was just it was really good. Liked all the cameos, and the way, and that's the thing now, isn't it, with the multiverse, that you can kill off characters, bring them back from other universes, and you can do whatever you like. So it's really exciting to see where they're going to go with this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Lee, so I suppose you are sort of like the Marvel casual audience. You're not going to get every single comic book reference. No. You'll get some things from some TV shows you watched, some casual stuff, from just, social media and just some general plethora of like the comic world out there and stuff like that. Sacha, what was your overriding thoughts coming out of the movie?
I really enjoyed it. I do feel that you need to see WandaVision to really get what Wanda's going through with it. That's the only flaw I have with the movie. It's because I came out going, this is an 8, but I'll reveal what I think it should be later. But that's the only thing that I, didn't like about it. However, the movie was an enjoyable ride, and I really felt more than anything, it felt like a Sam Raimi movie rather than an MCU movie. And that's what I loved about it. And I wish Bruce Campbell could have been in it more, but, In fact, keep Bruce. Keep Bruce in the MCU,
I totally get that.
Keep him in the MCU. Just have him pop in. Especially in Spider-Man films.
He can still pop up. He could pop up in anywhere. Exactly. I suppose from now that Marvel after Endgame, obviously Marvel very much a case of we've got this Disney Plus platform now, and we're going to be doing a lot of shows, and these are all canon. So I suppose their program and their blueprint now isn't to make individual movies. It is very much a case of a continuous interwoven series of events and characters and stories, very much like their comics, where sometimes you do have to cross over and read other comics or cross over and see other shows to follow the full story. I totally get where you're coming from with the WandaVision, because I think when we first came out, some people said, oh, you don't really need to see WandaVision. But I was like, well, to really understand what Wanda's going through and the fact that she has these children, because obviously if you take off where Endgame was, she tried to take down Thanos. She almost killed him. Didn't quite work, but then, move on. Now, all of a sudden, she's this person and she's isolated herself and she's full of vengeance and she wants to be with her kids. You're like, kids, hang on. Whoa, what's all this about? So without WandaVision, you won't get the gravitas of her situation and the switch will be very extreme. However, saying that, our friend Amrita, who came with us to watch it on that night, she hasn't seen WandaVision and she said it didn't impact her. However, for me, I really got Wanda, and I think I really enjoyed her performance, and I understood it a lot more because of what I've seen. But so I think it can go either way. I think it depends on the audience and, what they want to take away from it and stuff like that. But yeah, I think, WandaVision. And for instance, obviously I'd seen the What If series. They said What If is canon. And that's obviously played out in the movie, not just for the fact that we have a Captain Carter in there from the What If series, but as they're traveling through dimensions, they go through an animated version. So Doctor Strange changes. So that is another universe. And so that makes it, all that canon. So, but Sacha, you hadn't seen What If, had you?
Well,
and you didn't felt that
no,
made
I
an
didn't. I
impact
felt
to you.
the way they handled the What If stuff was done incredibly well, and how Marvel have handled their movies in the past. It's just the WandaVision situation that makes it a little bit different. Because the thing is, when you watch most of these movies, they're standalone for the casual audience, so they can jump in and be like, oh, okay, there's a lot more I can watch from this world. And that's how movies should be. So I don't believe that you should get... A movie should be one entire film kind of thing, unless it's the crescendo to everything, like an Endgame, like a Return of the Jedi, yeah, if you know what I mean, kind of thing. But you know, the only exception to that rule is probably the Lord of the Rings films, because of the way the books were written and stuff, and the way they did those off. They were just like, you're either in or you're out. There's no, you know what I mean? There's no in between there. But which is why Fellowship was my favorite out of all of them, kind of thing. But yeah, if I was to give an honest review of the movie as a whole, I would have to pull that point for that entire reason with WandaVision. Aside from that, movie's dope. Okay, it's a fun ride. If you're a Marvel fan, you're probably gonna come out of it like, oh my god, I got all the bells and whistles out of that. And I'm not even a Doctor Strange fan. Okay, so you know what I mean. Like I hate Doctor Strange as a character in the books. Whenever he'd show up in X-Men or Spider-Man, I'd be like, Jesus, the magical bastard. Okay, fuck this guy. You know what I mean? Which is why I love Tony Stark in Endgame, because in Infinity War, because Tony Stark resented my inner thoughts every time that guy would come into a comic book, because Tony Stark's like, who the hell is this guy? You know what I mean? Like, he's like, ooh, look, magic, ooh. And then he's like, you're embarrassing me in front of the wizard. Gold. You know what I mean? That's just gold. But that represented everything that I don't like about Doctor Strange, and everyone that's like into Doctor Strange is like, Sash don't know what he's talking about. It's just not for me. Just not for me. But saying that, this movie, I enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was a fun ride, and that's it. If that's the worst thing I could come out with about the movie, come on, man. Like, yeah,
exactly. So let's start breaking down a few little bits. So America Chavez, obviously a new character, really came in with a bang. Like we said at the beginning of the movie, it's her and a variant of Doctor Strange, and you know, she's trying to escape this thing which is trying to capture her. That kind of Doctor Strange almost turns on her in a sense, not necessarily in a really evil way, but in a sense of mistrust. He's trying to take her powers. You know, the performance by, I think it's Xochitl Gomez. I think that's how you pronounce it. Apologies or not. I thought she was great in the movie. You know, it's a big thing to come into the MCU like that, with that kind of character, and be very much a joint lead for the movie. I thought she did fantastically well. Your guys' thoughts on Chavez?
Yeah, I thought she did great.
I think when you put it like that, under the circumstances, she did fantastic. Like, under the circumstances of being, you are into, what are we, what's this film, 26? 27? Right? You are into, you know, we're in the second decade stage of MCU. And, you know, we're almost at film 30. You know, this is not you're not stepping into this when, you know, oh, this is film 2, you know, all the fans know who you are, and anybody who doesn't, well, you know, they'll find out. No, this is like, you're in the deep end. You're in the starting 11, basically. You know?
Yeah.
For that, I mean, I felt like she fit in perfectly. She didn't feel out of place in any kind of way, shape, or form. And I did like the fact, when you say she's a joint lead, she was, because I did like the fact that she had moments where she was guiding Doctor Strange. Like, you know, like his name, let's face it, is his name on the marquee. But she's like, no, this is how we operate. And I did like that, you know, it was like, she showed that she could hold her own, even alongside someone as you know, quite large as Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I did enjoy the dynamic between her and Doctor Strange, but it did ring quite similar between him and Peter Parker. Sort of this younger person he's having to take under the wing. And so I hope in future movies we can move away from that a little bit, because we've seen 2 movies kind of back to back where he has that kind of personality about it. But I suppose in a way maybe that he's kind of been the Tony Stark kind of character, you know, in terms of bringing people under his umbrella and kind of guiding him through stuff. So, maybe that is something that we'll see more of with him rather than less.
It might have been because of the way that he was with Spider-Man was why he was different to the other Doctor Strange.
Yeah, true. And I suppose now that he doesn't remember Peter Parker now, does he? So he doesn't have that relationship there anymore. So he's now got this person he's taking under his wing, and he doesn't even remember who Peter Parker is. Spider-Man, because obviously they've referenced it. They've referenced Spider-Man in the movie with the spider powers and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, we don't touch on that. So and then obviously Wong, good presence in this movie. He does what he does, which he hasn't done in all the previous movies. And obviously then we switch over to Wanda, and Doctor Strange goes to see her because he believes that she can help. He's gaining the trust of America Chavez, and the switch comes quite early. It was I didn't expect it to come that quickly. So she's very much a case of, I didn't say, because he says, you got to help me with this kid, and she says, well, America Chavez, and he's like, you didn't say her name, did you? No.
Can we just?
And then we find out she's.
Can we have a moment to appreciate when she that revelation, when she just lets the red just roll around, and you see that it's this field of beautiful apple trees is just this desolate land,
field of death. Yeah,
I'm like, that was a moment where I was like, ooh, we in good hands. Good hands. This film is gonna be dope.
It's like she did it without a sweat, and it's just like, we thought we knew her powers after WandaVision, but it's like we have no idea. She's just getting stronger and stronger because now she's Scarlet Witch, right? So she's gone through that transformation now, and now she's Scarlet Witch, and she's like lays down the gauntlet to Doctor Strange, saying, "Yeah, I want her. Give her up, or you're all going to die, basically." And then she has her attack on what's it called? Robotage, yeah, exactly. So then, we have that attack, big set piece. But this is where really a lot of the Sam Raimi stuff comes in, where she's trying to penetrate the fortress, and you get a lot of the horror elements, doors closing, hand shocks, surprises. I absolutely loved that. I thought that was brilliant. And then we got sort of this dream jumping introduced, where she can jump into another person's body, and she just so obviously America Chavez and Doctor Strange start falling through the multiverse, ending up in a different one, and she chases them through that, finds her doppelganger of that universe, takes over. As soon as the kids arrive, you hear the WandaVision theme in the background, the slight little play there, and it's to start basically for Doctor Strange. They start falling through the multiverse. I need to see that again, and obviously as soon as that becomes available on digital DVD, you can start pausing to see all those different universes and actually what they showed us, because there's just, it was so quick to take in. I mean, it looked like, obviously we had the animation one, we had what looked like Savage Land. It could just be dinosaurs, but it could be Savage Land. There's so many things that we've seen through there.
A paint one?
Yeah, there was a paint one.
I saw it, and I swear to you, I feel like it was Marvel Noir.
Oh, really?
Because there was one of them where they went through, and it was just like, it was black and white. And I know initially, it's just black and white, you should just think that. But I was looking, and I was like, I've seen that before. That's Marvel Noir. To clarify for those who don't know, Marvel Noir is like, they basically did a version of basically what would happen if the Marvel characters kind of originated in the kind of film noir type world. It's black and white. Spider-Man is the Spider-Man from Spider-Verse, where it's voiced by Nicolas Cage, where he's got the the fedora and the trench coat. That world. So yeah, I was like,
yeah. So we have the cameo from Bruce, where he's the guy selling the pizza dough balls and lost her pay, and he ends up punching himself right until the end credits for 3 weeks. I think he said the spell's going to last for, a nice little throw in. Basically Sam Raimi says basically when he has a movie, he calls up Bruce and he's like, I've got a movie. He's just like, when do you need me? He's just there. There's no questions. He does what he just wants to be a part of that, which I think is a brilliant relationship. And then obviously we have Doctor Strange. He goes to the Sanctum in their new universe, which they've dropped into, which we later find to be Earth 838. He sees that Doctor Strange is dead. There's a statue, and the Sorcerer Supreme is Carl Mordo, who seems great. He seems like a friend. And then we get the switch again, where he's actually, nah, I don't really trust you, and he poisons their tea. And he takes them to the basically, I think it may be the Baxter building, which is maybe where it's referred to, the Baxter Foundation, exactly. And so then we get to see him seeing his alternate love interest, you know, and she's very aware of the multiverse. And I did like that part of the Doctor Strange. There's very much a lot of it taken from the What If, where he keeps trying to recapture Christie, you know, in terms of keeping her in his life and being the one. And obviously then we come up to the Illuminati. So there was huge amount of speculation going into this about who was going to be a part of it. The only one that we were pretty sure of was Xavier, who actually is the last one to be revealed in there. Because we see obviously the voice of Patrick Stewart in the trailer. And then one of the TV spots later on, we see him in his chair, which we'll come on to. But then we start seeing the other parts of the Illuminati. So one of them is Mordo, who's the Sorcerer Supreme. And then we have Captain Carter, who Haley Atwell, she's back, looked just like she did her counterpart from What If, which she voiced as well, which is fantastic. A big surprise for me was Anson Mount as Black Bolt, you know, in his gear and his costume, reprising the role. We did see him in the series Inhumans. Not a lot of people have seen that. It's not had the greatest reviews. I enjoyed it for what it was at the time, but I think, you know, now we've been quite spoiled. I think if you go back and watch it now, it may not feel fantastic, but at the time, didn't really have an issue with it. But it was great to see him there, because obviously, if you're aware of the character and the powers, aware of the character in that show, you're aware of what his powers can do. Then we get our new Captain Marvel, which is Maria Rambeau. Yeah. And, you know, that's very much going to play in the Marvels TV series. Miss Marvel TV series. She's going to appear in there. And then obviously it's going to happen in the Marvels sequel to Captain Marvel. So we kind of got that. There was loads of speculation going into this, where there are people trying to do freeze frames and stuff, saying this was like superior Iron Man, that Robert Downey Jr. might be back, or it might even be a variant of him, and it was going to be played by Tom Cruise. There was all sorts of nonsense going on, but no, it's Monica Rambeau, Captain Marvel. And then, for me, the biggest surprise in this movie, and I shouted out in the screen with this, we get Mr. Fantastic, John Krasinski, show up. Oh my God. I had no idea this was going to happen. I hadn't seen any leaks. I'd seen nothing about this. Some of you listeners maybe out there, maybe have seen it. Let me know if you kind of knew it going in. There was speculation, but man, seeing him up on the screen like that warmed my heart.
I figured,
Neil, you are a huge Fantastic Four fan. Tell me how you.
Let's say right now. I must clarify this, right? I say. Right, I have a strong issue with people talking in the cinema. Right, I like, you know, be quiet. Like, I don't mind if you're like, oh my God, or, you know, you feel a little shock, or like if you have to, if someone's like, what was that? And you're like, it's that. Okay, but don't be having no full on conversation. You know, to be blunt, shut the fuck up. But my God, when this moment happened, when he just materialized, teleported, whatever in, and he was like, Reed Richards, I shouted out, fuck yes. I may have made mention once or twice. Fantastic Four is my favorite comic book.
Once or twice.
And damn, when I say I have been waiting a very long time to see an MCU Fantastic Four. And, you know, I mean, it's like, you know, for the strong listeners, go back. I think it's episode 3 or 2. We did creative control on the Fantastic Four. John Krasinski was one of my man. He was one of my reads.
I think he was all... Yeah, he was one of my... He's my top choice. He was. It was actually episode 3. This was back in November 2020. And we probably actually recorded that a couple of months prior, because we recorded quite a few episodes before we started the launch. So we were probably talking maybe July, August time in 2020 where we were casting this. And he was a lot of people's number one picks. I think he has been for a lot of people interested in the MCU. You know, he was almost Captain America, but it didn't work out. But he just seemed to have the right age, the right experience and everything. And yeah, to see it actually happen and not have it teased previously, not be in the trailers, not him being on the red carpet. Because the thing is, when they did the red carpet event, Hayley Atwell was there, Patrick Stewart was there. So you knew these people were going to be in it because you saw them there. And obviously we saw Captain Carter's shield in the trailer and stuff like that. There was a hint of the poster. So there was these, but this was just out of left field. Sasha, what was your thought of seeing
Not the same as you guys, man. I mean, like, here's the thing. It's like, I thought, I knew that Fantastic was going to be in it. If you're going to bring the Illuminati, they're going to bring in him. But I thought, because of the way Spider-Verse was and stuff, I thought maybe we'd get, is it Ian Gifford? Joan Gifford? Ian Gifford? Yeah, that guy. I thought we were going to get that guy, or like, you know, a preview, probably not Miles Teller, but I was hoping we'd get that guy from those films. Not that I'm a fan of those films, but yeah, I mean, I thought if we're dealing with multiverse, it'd be a cool little nod, you know, to what's gone before, kind of like the Spider-Man thing. But when they cast, what's his name?
John Krasinski.
John Krasinski.
John Krasinski.
Him. Yeah, that guy. I was like, wow, the fans really have spoken, and Disney, Marvel have listened. That was it. Now I'm like, come on, man, you cannot tell me that Emily Blunt is not going to be Invisible Woman now. I'm sorry. I know what she said, but come on, man. It's like, John, man, like, convince your wife, bro. Convince your wife. In fact, while you're at it,
yeah, I mean, she was almost Black Widow.
Yeah. But in the meantime, with John Watts stepping down, what's to say that my man might be the director? I'm just putting it out there. I don't know whether that would happen. That's just speculation.
Yeah, that's true. He's not directing the next.
He's not directing the next Quiet Place.
No, so
and
his schedule is there potentially. Yeah, and I wouldn't have an issue with that because I love what he's done with Quiet Place 1 and 2. I think he's a super talented, as in front of the camera as well as behind the camera, you know. So, and I love when you see sort of the interviews and the making of, like, his passion for it. You know, there's something to be said about him doing that. Maybe he might even get some producer credits alongside it, you know. But maybe he might just be like, you know what, I'll act in it.
That's it. Yeah.
That's it. You know, because you know. For Fantastic Four, you'd imagine they could be signing him up to a 3, 5, 6 picture deal. So it may just be a case of that's it, and I'll just do the acting part, and then he can go off and do his own projects and do his own small other bits as a director or producer. So, but we'll see. And then obviously Patrick Stewart, Greystar Screens in the X-Men 1997 cartoon chair. With the theme
and the suit
from the TV show, and the suit, everything lifted straight from
bro,
that.
When that theme tune came, I was just like, oh my god, man! It was so good. It was so good.
It was a lot within about 3 minutes. We got a lot of information in 3 minutes. It was just like, I'm still saying John Krasinski, and then I hit the theme tune before he even hits the screen. I'm just like, oh shit, this is amazing. And
I wish
and obviously
they kept that under wraps.
Go on.
I really wish they'd kept. Like, I didn't mind seeing the Illuminati shot where you couldn't see them, but I wish they'd never did the voice for everyone to speculate about Patrick Stewart. I wish, I wish so badly they kept that lock and key because, like, it's still impacted because of the theme song, okay, and the chair. Yeah. But like, if they, because here's the thing, right? Okay, like, are they going to go with Patrick Stewart for X-Men or are they not? I don't know. It's because it's an alternative universe. They could still do anything, but I'm sorry, man. Like, the way I see it is, if you're gonna do X-Men straight up, like, I still stand by my opinion. Like, set in the 80s, keep McAvoy and co. Get rid of a few of those shit films like Dark Phoenix and What was it? Apocalypse, maybe. Actually, I think they can recover from that. Actually, no, fuck it. Fuck it. He's Moon Knight, so he can go. Just continue it off Days of Future Past. Days of Future Past, bro. Have that way, if you're doing it from Days of Future Past, you can recast Cyclops, Jean Grey, all of the main X-Men, set them in the 80s, have it link with fucking Ant-Man, have Michael Douglas de-aged and fucking, Shield, get Haley Atwell, Shield, that kind of shit. And then have it in the 80s, have X-Men be kind of separate from the main MCU kind of thing. That way we can have them in their classic outfits and just doing X-Men things and have Fassbender being glorious again. And then if they want to do like X-Men in the current modern day shit, cameos, bitch. Halle Berry comes in Black Panther. Patrick Stewart comes in, and if they want to do X-Men versus Avengers, they could do X-Men versus Avengers with the OG cast, have James Marsden just fucking kill off fucking Xavier and just like fucking be fucking Dark Phoenix, fucking Cyclops. I'm game. I'm game for that movie. X-Men versus Avengers, do it. I want it. Just when Marvel do their X-Men movies, just don't center it around Wolverine, man. Just have Hugh Jackman just cameo and just do walk-ons from now on, and that's it. I'm good. You know what I mean? He doesn't need to get the six-pack out. Hell, my man doesn't even have to work out, man. Just fuck it. Fuck off Wolverine, man. We've had 20 years of Wolverine. We're done. You know what I mean? Let's reshuffle. I can't wait for fucking Deadpool now.
Yeah,
that's the thing. That's the thing with the multiverse now. It's like say anything's possible, isn't it? You could have the X-Men come and have X-Men versus Avengers in one universe, and
exactly.
Back to normal in another universe.
Yeah, I mean they did establish the Earth that we're watching is Earth 616, which is a central universe, which is strange because Mysterio in Far From Home referred to Earth as 616. It's like. But he didn't even. How did he know about 616? How did he know about the multiverse numbers? Do you know what I mean? That was kind of strange, but it's just going to be a throwaway thing because
Shield
obviously he was trying to distract us thinking he was from another universe. But anyway.
Fury knew. He told him before.
But yeah, Fury probably told him. Yeah, exactly.
He knows everything. It's all in his iPad.
Well, it wasn't even Fury. It was the Skrull.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. Shit.
It was the Skrull. So probably the Skrull knew.
Yeah. Skrull knew.
Exactly. This
space shit.
Yeah. Space shit. It's comic shit, multiverse shit. But yeah, so and obviously what we have then is Wanda break into the facility as she wipes the Illuminati out. The way she took out Black Bolt, oh my lord! What he can take you out with one breath. It's like from his mouth. What mouth? And he screams because of the panic, and he blows his own head. Oh my days!
In my head, while I was watching it, I thought he was like, "Wait, what?" I thought he was like, what?
Yeah. Boom. Yeah. It's like, what? Yeah. And it's boom, gone. And then, then obviously Mr. Fantastic just like shredded him. He was gone, done. And then she's fighting, obviously, Captain Carter getting sliced with the shield. Oh my. This is Raimi on point, man. That's like, we didn't expect this kind of carnage. And this is a lot darker tone.
Raimi turned her into fucking the T-1000, bro.
Yeah. She was just decimating everyone.
Infinity War.
Yeah. And then she gets the limp and she starts limping and stuff like that. And it's like a chase thing and it's a real horror thing at this point, and it's just getting mental. It's just, that whole thing was just so unexpected. Obviously, we saw Ultron robots in that universe as well, and what that means for the franchise. But yeah, just kind of crazy with Illuminati, and obviously it opens it up. We know that we're going to get a Fantastic Four movie, so we'll see what happens there. But what's some other things to mention?
Can we talk about Xavier's death? Can we not just gloss over that?
Oh yes, Xavier's death. So he tries to help Wanda. He enters her mind. We come through is sort of like it looks like the rubble. It's like a rubble piece, and Wanda is kind of trapped underneath, and he says to her, "I think that Scarlet Witch is kind." Yes, that's it. It's kind of linking straight back to that war torn Sokovia, or whatever it was, Sokovia, and it's she's trying to pull her out, and basically this mist just comes behind, and she jumps out of the mist and just snaps his neck, and it was like. it's like every time we see Xavier now he dies. We saw him in X3 and now we see him he just dies. It's just like it's just actually that I did not
that
expect
character's
that.
died more times than
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's his thing now. He just die in each variation of him. But yeah, that horror bit and the anticipation, because you saw the cloud, you didn't know what was going to happen, where she was going to manipulate his mind, but she literally snapped his neck in his mind and just took it. Oh, damn, that was mental.
Yeah, that was great.
That was crazy. That was crazy. Then we obviously have him going to see his other version of Doctor Strange in terms of, I don't know, was it the 838? No, because I think it was another universe they were kind of popped into. And he fights himself. Now, what did you guys think of the music fight in that scene? Because when I watched it, I really dug it. But so many people thought, nah, that's really cheesy. That's like Spider-Man 3 and Spider-Man dancing. I didn't feel that watching it at all.
I didn't mind it.
Exactly. I really enjoyed that because I was hearing it and I was like, that's really unique. That is something different. What did you guys make of that?
Well, Beth liked it because it has a harp in it. It's the final bit.
The final note, exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it, man.
I mean,
I didn't have a problem. I thought it was all right. People like to complain. Fuck those people.
Where it needed to be, right? And even more so than just simply being on par for what it was, I think it was that it was, yeah, especially for being on par from that, it was just inventive. It was inventive because it's like you're taking what's right around you and you're utilizing it. And, you know, I mean, because it's just music notes floating in the air. He could have just, you know, pushed them away from him. He could have turned them to dust. He could have turned them into razor blades and thrown them. No, he used magic to take the notes and make them weapons.
Yeah.
Can I say, he used magic shit. It's magic.
We forget, obviously, the one...
Wherever.
Yeah, use magic shit. We forget that one defines the temple that's just kind of designated to her, and that's very much in the comics where the kind of wonder is created. So again, you know, directly reference. Look, this gets no wrong. This is very much about House of M. You know, Wanda going out for her children. I was anticipating whether something was going to happen where she sort of like brought in mutants, or said, you know, let there be mutants, or no more, you know, something about that. It didn't quite happen. Obviously, she brings the temple down on herself. Do we believe that she's dead in this 616?
Nobody, no dead.
You saw her magic
agree.
go as things were crumbling. So, you know, maybe she's zoom out of there, man. All it takes is like the flash.
She's such a good character.
Yeah.
You can't kill that character off. She played it so well. I mean,
look,
if
they're going to bring X-Men into MCU, they're going to keep her, man. They're going to keep her.
Yeah. Yeah. What about Zombie Strange?
That's awesome.
Classic Raimi. Classic Raimi.
Say right. Yeah. I like the fact that the trailers made it look like Zombie Strange was the villain of the piece. They made it look like he was going to be the villain of the piece. Because, like, after watching the film, because, you know, I watched it yesterday, so I watched, like, the main trailer again. And when I was watching it, I was like, okay, it looks, just judging from the film, it looks like, oh, Wanda's gonna toe the line between hero and villain. Maybe, you know, she's like, you know, she's got legitimate reasons to be bad, but she'll turn good, you know? And that, you know, dead zombie Doctor Strange is going to be zombie Doctor Strange is going to be the villain. He's the villain of the piece, you know? And the thing is, because multiple times they kept saying, oh, the greatest threat to the multiverse is you, Doctor Strange.
Strange,
that's what it's going to be. And then when it turned out, no, he just reanimated his own corpse. I was like,
yeah. When you rewatch the trailer, because I haven't actually done that yet, doesn't it seem like Mordor introduces Doctor Strange to that other variant?
Even more than that.
Yeah, it does, right? And then he's like, things just got interesting. You know, and it was just like, so that all that is just fake.
No, well, here's the thing: is there is, I saw a post and it said that there's about 30 minutes of deleted scenes I have no idea if that is legitimate or true or real or not. But judging from watching the trailer, I know, ever since Iron Man 2, there have always been clips in Marvel films or clips in the trailers that don't turn up in the films. But that said, some of the dialogue does lead the story down a different path.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. Lee, what were your thoughts on Zombie Strange?
Yeah, I thought it was a great. Yeah, it was great how it was done. I mean, I say the whole thing really, just obviously magic, and like you say, how do you create all of the spells and the world and the multiverse game? I mean, it's to try and keep up and direct all that. They've done an amazing job with it. But yeah, no, when Zombie Strange, when he started breaking, when he said, I can't remember obviously the exact words, but he said something in the book doesn't say, or she didn't say something about I had to be alive. Or I had to be a living person.
Yeah.
And then straight away you went, I know what's going to happen here. And then also,
yeah.
And it always, the whole movement.
Classic Raimi shot, hand through the rubble kind of thing. Yeah.
And that was it. It was just like, oh, that's great. And then you say with all the demons and that, then, and he's flying across like a Batman moment. It was just like, yeah, no, it was really cool, I have to say. Yeah, that was really enjoyed that.
And so, like, obviously, we get the close out of the movie. Yeah, where you said Wanda comes through some kind of redemption. She realizes kind of what's happened. But obviously, what happens is Chavez realizes she can use her powers. She says to Wanda, I'm going to give you what you want. She throws her in with her alternate self in that universe, and her kids are afraid of her. And she suddenly realizes what she's become because of the reaction of her kids. And I thought that was really nice because, again, we saw kind of the trailer with them two interacting with each other, but we didn't quite know what it meant. I thought Wanda had a fantastic arc in this story because it could have been switched to bad or good very easily, but the reasons and why I think were really dealt really well. A lot of people criticized the dialogue of this movie and the script. I didn't have any issues with it at all. I don't understand anybody who didn't enjoy it. I just don't get it.
You know what I don't get? Granted, art is art, and if you're watching a film, you want to see the best film possible. But if you're watching a movie in which, let me clarify this. You're watching a movie in which a former surgeon who is now a sorcerer reanimates a variant version of his own corpse, right? You're watching a movie in which they travel to multiple different dimensions, including paint. One that is they're made of paint. You're watching a world in which you see a man who is paralyzed but has the greatest mind in the world sitting in a floating yellow chair, and another man who can stretch any part of his body any way he wants. And dialogue is where you take issue.
Yeah.
You in the wrong film. Right?
I agree. I thought they dealt with all the explanations really, really well. But anyway, so obviously then we got some of the post-credit scenes, and one of them is when he was fighting his variant, he produced a third eye. And obviously we see Doctor Strange then come out with a third eye in the first post-credit scene. Whether it's third eye or mind's eye, that is something from the comics as well. That is something that has existed. And it'll be interesting to see what they do with it. I think he even had third eye and What If in the Doctor Strange episode. But we don't know necessarily what that means. Is it a manifestation of the Eye of Agamotto, which was destroyed? What kind of extra abilities does it give him to see? It's yet to be established. But we obviously see that and it breaks out. And then we go to the next post-credit scene where he seems quite comfortable that he has a third eye. But we then get to see... yeah, it was very
1
much
minute it's like you think, they've left it like that. And then next he's walking along, but... Again,
he's just walking down the street again. Exactly.
It could be a different version. Who knows?
Yeah, and then we get something which, again, if you are not a comic book reader, you won't know. We get Clea show up, and she's played by Charlize Theron. She seems to be coming out of a portal. When you look behind, it's very much like Dormammu from the first movie in space, all the colors and everything like that. And she's like, "Yeah, come on, we need to go do some shit." And he's like, "Yeah, let's jump on board." So if you don't know who Clea is, basically she is from another sort of like another universe, and her and Strange basically end up falling in love, and they actually get married. He eventually has to lose her by doing a deal with
Mephisto.
Who does he do a deal with? Mephisto. That she forgets all about it, or he forgets about her, or something like that. And then eventually she takes up the mantle of Doctor Strange. She changes her last name to Strange. She becomes the Sorcerer Supreme. So I think obviously this is going to be his new love interest. Like Chrissy thing is done. He's moved on from that. This will be the new love interest. Whether she might appear in Ant-Man and the Wasp, because they're dealing with Quantum Mania and stuff like that. Whether it's going to be part of Doctor Strange 3. But eventually she could be the person who takes over from Cumberbatch as a Sorcerer Supreme, as we've seen like with the Falcon and Captain America and stuff like that. But it's very much something, if you don't know, wasn't aware of her in the comics, you're probably walking out there going, "What the hell is that?" And hopefully we've given you an idea of what that's about.
I'm gonna say something, right? When I watched the film and she turns up, the first thing I thought was not Clea. I don't know if it's because I was just too wrapped up in everything I'd seen and cameos. I was like, Lilandra!
Right.
Lilandra! And then it took me a second. I'm like, no headdress. The eyes are different. And I was like, no, it's not. It's someone.
No.
Who would you get? Who would you cast?
That's some next person.
Who would you cast as Gladiator?
I read. Sorry.
Who would I class as Gladiator?
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, he's like the first person who comes to mind for Gladiator. I know people would want this person for a completely different role, a better role, a more kind of like meatier role. But for me, when I think of Gladiator, I think of The Rock.
Really?
I think Dwayne Johnson for Gladiator.
Yeah, no, I can't have Black Adam there.
No.
I know, but it's like it's someone who's big. I'm like, when I think of Gladiator, and maybe this is just the comic nerd in me who knows too much and is verbal diarrhea. But I'm like, all right, so Gladiator is a person who pretty much can't be beaten by anybody. As long as he feels that he is that guy, he is that guy, and he will beat the shit out of anyone. Who better to pick than the guy in Hollywood? Huh?
Unless you're Cannonball. Unless you're Cannonball.
But no, I said yeah. But what I'm saying is like, it's who better to have when you want to portray that persona, who better to have than probably the guy in Hollywood who could theoretically beat the shit out of pretty much anyone else in Hollywood.
Not Henry Cavill?
Mm-hmm.
Nah, he's deserving of a role that he's in the title.
Yeah.
So in terms of what Clea says, is basically you've created an incursion. What did that mean to you guys in terms of the MCU going forward?
I think that possibly she might blame Strange for what the other Strange did.
Okay, right.
Or he has actually caused an incursion somewhere. I mean, look, one thing that did quite annoy me in the trailers for Doctor Strange, you got Modo saying, your desecration of the multiverse can't go unpunished. Right? And when I think about that, for me, maybe the trailer was leading me to believe that. I was heavily thinking about No Way Home. And I was thinking, okay, you've done what you did for No Way Home by that spell you created and maybe even the first spell to try and make everyone forget Peter Parker is Spider-Man. by doing that spell, you caused damage somewhere. And Modo knows it and is, doing what he's doing because of it. And that's why, you get arrested by the Illuminati and whatnot. But that sentence and segment wasn't in the film. So when she was like, "Oh, you've caused an incursion," I was just like, "Did he? Where? When?"
Yeah, maybe it's going to lead.
So
maybe it's going to lead into Secret Wars because they got that. They've blatantly got that coming up next, and with all the stuff with the Kralls.
That's exactly.
And stuff.
I think that's what the name.
Plus,
So
we've got a TV show coming with Nick Fury and the guy that's the Skull. So, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So for the non-comic book readers, basically an incursion is when one reality crashes into another and it kind of either destroys one or both. So that is very much a plot point of the multiverse and stuff like that. So I think it's very much name drop because we're going to have Ant-Man and the Wasp with Quantum Mania. So they're going to be dealing with the quantum realm and, potentially multiverse there as well. We've got Secret Invasion, which I think ultimately is going to lead up to Secret Wars, which is going to be the end game equivalent. So,
well, that's just it. The
Secret Wars is basically accumulation of these different multiverses coming together. So that is where I can see where they're headed in the next 7 years or something.
Well, that's just
like
it.
that.
I mean, like the
X-Men will come into that somewhere as well.
Well, yeah.
1 second, I just had a thought, right? I just had a thought. This is completely a wild thought, but the only kind of incursion that I could think of that we have technically seen, and it's a very small incursion, not a massive one, not a major one, would be the end of Morbius having MCU's Vulture in that world.
I don't think that's linked. I honestly don't think that's linked at all.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said it's.
I just think that's
left field.
But that could be you know what? Throw it in there because that could be a get out of jail card free for Sony to sort their shit out. But like, you are giving them way too much credit.
Surely the incursion is.
Yeah, I know. Like the incursion is probably, like you said, is lining up to Secret Wars, but. I think it's just the fact that it's the only thing that could come to mind because it's the only one where I'm like, okay, what have I seen? This, and no incursion. That could be an incursion. That's it.
Yeah, I mean the only thing that could be an incursion is obviously he killed his alternate person to get the Darkhold. So he's killed another version of Doctor Strange in another universe. So whether that counts as an incursion, but that universe seems to be on its way out anyway. But maybe that final thing, maybe Doctor Strange was holding that universe together because it was just debris and dead wasteland. And then that has just collapsed on itself now after he's taken him out. So maybe that's where the first incursion
Well, actually, when you put it like that, there is, the kind of whirling tornado that was outside the window?
Yeah.
That did dramatically change during their little scuffle.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, look, I think we've gone through most of the plot points. Obviously, the very final end credit, we have Bruce Campbell come back, hitting himself in the face, and eventually it stops.
It's over!
It's over! It's over! Yeah, that was, I mean, a lot of people were pissed that they waited that long to see that, but I thought that was funny. I was just like, nah, I don't... It's like, you don't need to leave the very end one as another plot point. We just need to plot point moving forward. Just have a little bit of fun.
You know what that was for me? That was I had the same feeling as when I watched Homecoming, and it's the Captain America one at the end.
Yeah, right at the end. Yeah, no, absolutely. You got to have some fun with these because you can't make it a serious one. Everyone, you got to troll those fans a little sometimes. But look, I mean, for me, what I want to see now is in having listened to this podcast, if you haven't, go back and watch episode 3, where we talk about the Fantastic Four in the MCU. We talk about how we'd introduce them and how we'd cast them. My premise is still available, I think, for the 616. So basically, my idea was that the Baxter Foundation is like a secret foundation. The Mr. Fantastic and Sue Storm and stuff, they were all part of a project for the Baxters where they were trying to compete with the space race back in the 60s. Then they launched a rocket, but it got taken into a wormhole. They've been off planet, they've been out somewhere, and now they come back in a modern
He
time,
even
and
mentions
now you've
that.
got Mr. Fantastic.
That is actually something
He said-
mentioned in Doctor Strange.
Because he says something like, "Didn't you guys blow up in the '60s, or something happened in the
Mhm.
'60s?" I don't know if he's referring to like the Beatles and the Fab Four and like the Fantastic Four, or whether that might be
Yeah.
something to do with what happened in that. I took it as a storyline, but later I'm thinking, well, maybe it was a Beatles reference. I don't know, but yeah,
But if it's the storyline, man, you better be calling
it could be my. It's
Yeah,
like, I'm gonna be hitting up on Marvel on Twitter now, saying, "Yo, have you watched my episode?
No,
You taking my ideas?"
I'd be calling your lawyer.
Hell no,
Yeah.
Kevin Feige.
I think I gave it for free. In the episode. I said, if you're listening, just take it.
I'm going to say it right now, so it's well documented. Sir, Kevin Feige, anything that comes out of my mouth related to Marvel and what you are doing, if you like it, take it.
Yeah, exactly. I'll sit back and enjoy
But
it. I
if
don't
you
need to
like
get
it enough
paid.
to take it, it's yours.
All right. Okay, let's go around the room and get our final scores for what I kind of want to hear is your score on it and where you currently think it sits in your Phase 4 ranking based on the movies and TV series and everything we've had so far. So, Lee, what score are you giving Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness?
I give it an 8.
Okay.
And yeah, I
Where
guess
does it kind of sit with you? Is it lower than, Spider-Man? Is it higher than Shang-Chi and Eternals? Where does it sit for you?
Oh, it's hard to tell, to be honest. It's a level peg at the moment. There's not one that's really. I mean, No Way Home was probably well up there. Like I say, it's probably I can't remember what score I gave it now. It's either 9.5 or 10, whatever. But so it's not really going to top that for me. But then I do like Spider-Man. Yeah, no, an 8 is definitely top tier at the moment for me. Yeah,
cool. Sacha, what are your thoughts? What's your final score and where does it sit for you?
7. And where does it sit? Probably 3 or 4. Yeah, probably 3 or 4.
So 3 or 4 in terms of from the top. Yeah. Okay, so I think Sacha originally, like you said, he has it an 8, but he dropped it a point down to 7 based on the fact of the impact that WandaVision has on the show and how much you need to see that series to get to the film. So that's kind of where he's sitting. Neil, what's your score and where does it sit in Phase 4 for you?
All right, I'm going to put it out right. Before I watched the film, it's the first time I've ever done it. I ranked it as I gave it an 8.5 before I'd seen it. Because...
Based on what you'd seen from the trailer?
A friend of mine had watched this, and this is someone whose opinion I value highly. Yes, Chris, I value your opinion highly in with films. He was like, this movie is amazing. It's easily top 5 in my MCU total films ever. And I was like, all right, okay. I'll put it as 8.5 and we'll see how high or low we get. When I saw Reed Richards, it went to 9.5.
Yeah.
When Reed Richards died, it lowered. It went to about a 3. Stayed there for like 20 minutes. But then, now that the whole film is finished, I'm going to bend my own scoring system a little. It's going to get an 8.7. It's not quite a 9.
Okay.
But I feel like an 8 or an 8.5 would be undervaluing that film. I think this film is for me.
I would have liked to.
Go on.
Sorry, no. I would have liked to have seen a little few more moves from Reed Richards.
Yeah,
just a few more.
Yeah, I get it. And I think a lot of, it kind of makes sense now that we've seen Reed Richards in the movie, why they've changed Miss Marvel's powers in the TV show, because they're very similar to Reed Richards. But yeah, I think, he did a few stretches and stuff. It kind of just gives you enough, but I can see why you want
it gives you enough to remember who he is.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so for me, I went with an 8.5. That was my gut feeling when I came out of the movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a fast-paced film. It's just over 2 hours. Nothing dragged for me. I thought the effects were fantastic. I mean, we didn't even talk about the battle in New York with what's the monster at the beginning?
Shimagora.
Shimagora, yeah. Didn't even touch on that. it was just a fun movie throughout. I thought the performances were great. I thought Elizabeth Olsen was fantastic as Wanda. I thought she was brilliant. The cameos really delivered for me. I love the Illuminati bit. I love the deaths more than anything, because it wasn't just a case of they're here and now they disappeared. They all just got murked. And the power that Scarlet Witch was given. I thought the score, Danny Elfman, I thought did a fantastic job with the music. So 8.5 for me. Where it sits in Phase 4, it probably sits right under No Way Home. I think it's probably the next best thing that I've seen after Endgame. I've enjoyed some of the TV shows and stuff like that. I did enjoy Shang-Chi, but I thought the final act just went a bit too big and brass for me. Eternals I thought was really good. But yeah, I just got so much more enjoyment out of this film than I have. And, I think especially I've seen Morbius. Maybe I enjoyed it a little bit more. I really, really enjoyed this movie. And I would say if you can see it on the biggest screen you can, like an IMAX screen, I think it's fantastic. I watched it in 3D and I really enjoyed the 3D. I thought some of it was really, really good. So I'd like to see it in 2D next to kind of compare it. But we'll have to see.
I mean, I saw it in 2D. In fact, I will point out, I will state this. I watched it in regular 2D. I didn't watch it in IMAX. I didn't watch it in 3D, right? And I genuinely do wish that I'd at least chosen IMAX. Maybe not 3D, because I just like 3D. But I do genuinely wish I'd seen it in IMAX, because there are moments in that film that deserved to be seen at the highest level of quality that you can see a film.
Yeah. I mean, look, when we booked the tickets originally, it was either IMAX 3D or standard 2D. So for me, it was just a case, I'm going to take the 3D because I want to see it in IMAX. Yeah. Eventually, we'll be able to see it in IMAX in 2D. But yeah, on the first day, that was kind of the only options, which is why I went for the 3D. I don't regret it, because I enjoyed the 3D.
The 3D still looks crystal clear. It's just, I think 3D struggles with the motion, though. The motion is going a little bit distorted.
Well, that's the case of the conversion.
That's the difference of filming something with it's the difference of filming with a 3D camera, something like Avatar, as opposed to someone who's converted afterwards. I was really gutted, actually, they didn't show the Avatar 2 trailer.
They did.
Because I expected that to be on the front of it.
They did. I saw the Avatar 2
Not on
trailer.
us.
What?
We didn't get it.
I did.
Wow.
Thor 2. I got Thor: Love and Thunder. I got
really?
Avatar 2. I was like, yeah, okay.
We didn't get either of those.
We got Top Gun.
We got Top Gun.
We just got Top Gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got one trailer. It was like one trailer.
I got like a different Top Gun trailer. Like not the one I've seen.
We got the same one that's been on TV.
No, it wasn't the one
we got
I've
the same
seen,
one
like,
that's
on
been on
YouTube and stuff. It was a different trailer that I'd seen there. I got Thor, and I got Jurassic Park, and I got Avatar 2.
Oh, damn. Okay. Wow. Okay. What do you think of Avatar 2 trailer?
5 years too late.
Fair enough.
I mean,
right.
You know what? The thing is, the trailer I saw,
But you didn't watch it in 3D, did you?
It looks... No, I didn't watch the film in 3D. So, yeah, my trailer wasn't in 3D.
Yeah, that's what everyone's banging on about. They're talking about the 3D more than anything about that trailer in terms of how the shots are composed.
Okay, yeah.
But that's a whole other conversation, because I want to see it in 3D before I can even judge that trailer. Because if that's how the filmmaker intended it, I feel that's the way I need to watch it. But again, you're probably right. 5 years too late. I think 10 years too late personally, but kind of is what it is. Joe will still be defending it though, so
Well, no, I mean, it doesn't look like there's anything wrong. I mean, it looked like, there's some interesting points that we're talking. I mean, there are interesting moments within the trailer that made me say, this is interesting. I want to see this. I can see that there's a possibility of a time jump. When I was watching the trailer, because I saw moments and I was like, okay, well, that and that involve the two characters who are, clearly in different stages of their life, and they're the same character. So there's that. But all in all, it looks, the world, it looks the same as what you saw in Avatar.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was probably most afraid of, but we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, let's wrap it up here. Thank you very much for joining us. We've talked about this a lot longer than I thought we would. But yeah, really appreciate your time today, gentlemen. Let us know what you thought of the film. Let us know what were the highlights for you. Were you surprised by these cameos? Were they expected? Were you hoping for something else? Give us your scores in the comments as well. Let us know what you think. City World, you're about to get a tweet right now about what happened to my Avatar trailer. So
City World, you did me good, man. You ain't getting no tweet.
I need to understand what happened there because I got gypped.
Yeah, they knew exactly.
And I drove 2 hours to see this movie from Amesbury to Watford, and I didn't get my trailers, so it wasn't going. But anyway, check out all our latest episodes on YouTube, and obviously any podcast platform you can find. If you can help independent podcasters on Good Pods, which is available on iOS and Android, it'd be very much appreciated. But that's it. So until next time, thank you very much, gentlemen. Peace out.
Peace. Catch you later.
Later.